One of the best residencies in the entire world right now, and one of the best flags in the entire world right now, is the country of Armenia. And strangely, every time I bring up the topic of Armenia at this YouTube channel, I will regularly get comments or emails of guys saying, "Oh, Armenia is a terrible flag. Why would you possibly want to move there? Armenia is awful. Don't use Armenia as a flag. They're at war with Azerbaijan." False. They're a landlocked country. Irrelevant. There's a bunch of Russians moving in there. That's a good thing. They'll tax the shit out of you. False. So in this video, I'm going to address all these objections, and this will be one of my point two videos. So in the future, anytime anyone says anything about Armenia being a bad flag, I can just link to this video and address all the objections in one nice, neat little place. By the way, depending on when you watch this video, we have a Get Residency in Armenia service that might still be available. I'm not sure when this video goes up. If that service is still available and the deadline hasn't been reached yet, you can click the link in the description below. Now, on to Armenia. As I have talked about many times, and as I have said many times, and as I've been saying for about, let's see, since 2014 when I published my primary book, The Unchained Man, it's even in there. Every country in the world sucks. They all suck. They're all shit. All of them. There's about 190 or so countries on the planet, and they're all bad. There used to be a few good countries. Not anymore. They're all terrible. They all suck. But some suck less than others. All the countries in the world do suck, but they don't all equally suck. There are some that are much better, but even the ones that are better do have some disadvantages. And the objective is to use these countries in ways where the disadvantages don't affect you. That's what 5 Flags and Sovereign CEO is all about. That's number one. Number two, and I don't know why people are so confused about this. When I say use Armenia as a flag, I do not say move to Armenia and spend 12 months out of the year there. I have literally never recommended anyone move to Armenia and live there for most of the year. I have literally never said that in any YouTube video, in any blog article, in any email. You know why? Because I don't recommend that. I recommend you use them as a residency flag. Residency flag, as I've talked about numerous times on this channel, means you have residency in that country, but you don't live there. I know that's a mind-blowing concept. I have residency in Armenia. I have legal residency there. I'm a legal resident. But I don't live there. I live here in Dubai. Hello? See how easy that is? Not a big deal. For some reason, I'm not sure why this is. Whenever I talk about getting residency in Armenia or using Armenia as a flag, a bunch of people take my words, twist them around, and say that I said move to Armenia and sit there for 12 months out of the year. Never said that, and I don't even recommend that. I don't do that. You don't have to do that either. Now, certainly if you want to move to Armenia, there are advantages doing that too. That's just not part of my system. I'm talking about using Armenia as a residency flag. Now, why do I recommend using Armenia as a residency flag? 2 huge reasons. Huge reason number 1, it is the fastest and easiest residency to get in the world right now. And if you don't agree with this, prove me wrong with facts. The fastest and easiest residency to get in any country in the world without having to move there or do a bunch of weird shit is Armenia. It's awesome. Most residencies for most countries like Paraguay, Dubai, Mexico, and the places that I recommend require lots of time, lots of effort, lots of paperwork, lots of screwing around in order to get their residencies. Not Armenia. All you need literally is a passport, $6,000 and you're in. You have your residency card in your hand within 20 days. That's it. The easiest residency in the world. It's awesome. But it gets even better than that. Huge, awesome reason number 2, I recommend Armenia as a residency flag, is that if you have residency in Armenia for 3 years, you are eligible to get a passport there without having to move there, without having to live there, without having to spend a lot of time there, and without having to spend $100,000 like you do in the Caribbean. Now, you're not guaranteed to get it, but it's an option. That's pretty cool. There used to be many countries, including Paraguay, that used to offer that have rescinded that. Armenia hasn't done that, or at least hasn't done that yet. So that's the second reason. I'm telling you, Residency in Armenia is awesome. Now, before I cover all the objections and naysayers about Armenia, if you like this content on how to develop location-independent income, move to a less bad country, or at least set up an international backup plan and do all these things for very little money, you should subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, put a like on this video, leave a comment on this video, and that way you'll be able to get this content for free in the future. Let's address the objections that people say on the internet about Armenia. I'll take them one at a time. The first objection, usually the most common one, is, oh my God, you don't want anything to do with Armenia. They're at war with Azerbaijan. They're at war. A bunch of tanks will drive over your head if you go to Armenia. Okay, incorrect. It is true that there is a conflict, a border conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia. That is accurate. It is also accurate that Azerbaijan is a much larger and wealthier country than Armenia. That is also true. However, several things. Number one, this has been going on a very, 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 very long time and will probably go on for a very, very, very long time into the future. Number two, it is not a war. It is a border conflict. It is a conflict mostly localized, pretty much all localized on Armenia's eastern border. Rarely do you have any problems in Yerevan or west of Yerevan, which is where you would stay if you wanted to actually live in Armenia. And again, I don't recommend you live in Armenia. Next, this is very unlikely to burst out into a full-scale war because none of the powers in the region want this. Russia doesn't want this. Turkey doesn't want this, and who really doesn't want this is Iran, who borders these countries. Iran uses Armenia as a transit corridor to the Black Sea, and they have been on record many times as saying that any change in borders would be completely unacceptable. So if Azerbaijan was stupid enough to actually start rolling tanks and lobbing missiles into Yerevan, they would have to deal with a lot of countries, not the least of which would be Iran. So the odds of this actually blowing out into a real war are pretty goddamn low. Now, to be clear, I'm going to repeat one of the rules I have. That is the adjacent enemy rule. And that means that you should not move to or live in any country that has a hostile adjacent neighbor. And unfortunately, Armenia has a hostile adjacent neighbor, which means I don't necessarily recommend that you move to Armenia and spend most of the year there. Now, certainly if you want to do that, go right ahead. Armenia is great. I love Armenia. It's one of my favorite places in the whole world. I think Armenia is fantastic. But I don't recommend moving there as a living flag, not a residency flag. It's a good residency flag. I'm talking about living flag for that reason. So it's not like I disagree with you that you shouldn't include that as a factor. I'm just saying, if you go, oh no, don't have anything to do with it, there is a war. There is no war. There will be no war. It will be an ongoing, stupid border conflict. The next excuse or objection I see about Armenia is it's a landlocked country. Oh, that's bad. It's a landlocked country. So what? You know what? My second home is a country called Paraguay. It's also a landlocked country. I don't give a shit. Now, if you were to move to a country and use it as an economic flag, where the economy and the growth of the economy was very important to you, then yes, you probably shouldn't choose a landlocked country. But again, is that what I'm recommending you do with Armenia? No. Also, Armenia's economy is growing for the next objection I'm going to cover in a minute. So yes, if you're going to be Elon Musk and start a giant multi-billion-dollar corporation in Armenia, probably not the best place in the world because it is indeed a landlocked country. How is that relevant to you as an individual who's internationalizing his life and utilizing Five Flags as a backup plan and as a tax strategy? It has nothing to do with it. It is a completely irrelevant excuse for that person. Next excuse I have seen is, well, all these Russians are going there and all this Russian money is pouring into the banks. That's good. That's a good thing. That is a great thing for the economy of Armenia and Yerevan in particular. It's awesome the Russians are coming in. Thanks, Putin. Yes. A lot of Russian money is pouring into the banks. A lot of Russian capital is coming in. A lot of Russian people are coming in. This is all a good thing. I live in Dubai, one of the fastest growing countries in the world economically. And why is it? Why is Dubai doing so well financially when the rest of the world is freaking out about recessions and inflation and all this other bullshit? Because everyone's moving here. You want people moving to your country. It's a good thing for the economy if that's your concern. Unless you just hate Russians for some reason. I don't know why that would be. I think Russians are perfectly fine. So again, irrelevant excuse. The next excuse or objection I've seen, and I don't know why people think this, it's strange that people on the internet say, don't move to Armenia, they'll tax the shit out of you. False. I don't know why people are so dumb about this. It is true that Armenia is not a territorial tax country like Paraguay. If you don't know what that means, territorial tax means they only tax you on income you make inside the country. If you have any income coming in from outside the country, they do not tax it ever. That's why Paraguay and many countries like Paraguay, there's many countries that are territorial tax, are wonderful. Now, it is true that Armenia is not in that category. They will indeed tax your worldwide income if you stay there for longer than 183 days per calendar year. Is that what you're going to do if you get residency in Armenia? No. So here's a thought. Crazy idea. Get residency in Armenia and just don't do that. How hard is this? So again, very silly, stupid excuse. Anyone talking about taxes in Armenia, this is completely irrelevant unless you spend more than 6 months a year there. And even then, there are ways around it legally. That's beyond the scope of this video, but even then it's not a big deal. If you are in Armenia less than 6 months a year, the only tax liability you have is on Armenian sourced income. Anything you make from outside of Armenia through your location-dependent Alpha 2.0 business is tax-free, baby. Awesome. And that's it. So from now on, whenever you see someone say, oh, don't use Armenia as a flag, point them to this video, and even better, I'll give you 10 cool things about Armenia if you watch that video right there, and I'll see you in that video.